Good morning, everyone. My name is Katherine Waxman, and I'm a fourth-year Communication Studies student. And I'm going to take you through my story of the past 5 years in 5 minutes, highlighting my co-op experiences. So I want to begin with a roadmap of my brain coming into Northeastern. I was an undeclared student. I was unsure of what I wanted to do, had really no clear path, and was really uncomfortable with this ambivalence. Through a lot of thought, through a lot of conversations with advisors and professors and my parents, I came to highlight two of my most passionate interests, which were the world and healthcare. However, when I asked my advisors if I could major in travel, they told me no. So I needed to find a way to connect these two concepts. This led me to my first co-op search, where I wandered into the International Co-op office, and I thought that would align with my interest with the world a little bit. So I began talking to an advisor, talking to her about my interests, my passions. I thought she was going to think I was certifiably insane because I already showed you the roadmap of my brain. However, she took into consideration everything I was saying. I left the office. I came back a few days later, and she had mapped out a tentative plan for my first co-op for me. I was a little bit nervous to even consider an international opportunity before ever having professional experience, but she introduced me to an organization called Geovisions, which is a volunteer network that places you around the world in different opportunities. My advisor had pulled out a couple of specific opportunities she thought would be beneficial to me, and I was having an impossible decision choosing. However, I didn't really have to choose. So as you can see, this was my first 2 months of my co-op. I went and worked at the National Children's Hospital in Costa Rica. I was there for 8 weeks, and I served as a nurse's assistant and administrative assistant. I had no credibility in the nursing field. I just wanted to explore my passion for healthcare. But my journey didn't end there. So after 8 weeks in Costa Rica, I flew straight to Peru, and I worked at a community health center in an impoverished district. This is an image of the community health center. As you can see, I am blatantly making cotton balls. They didn't even have the materials to have cotton balls within their clinic. They had one stethoscope. They had very limited materials. And this was something that really opened my eyes to a different side of healthcare. However, unfortunately, as was common in that area, all the doctors went on strike, and I transferred to teach English at an elementary school, which was an equally impactful experience as I got to see the actual changes I was having in the children. They were always happy to see me. It was always a thrilling experience. So after 6 weeks in Peru, my adventure was still going. This is an image. These are some of the students I worked with in the Galapagos Islands as I went on to become an English teacher. Through these experiences, my eyes were incredibly open to what the world has to offer. It was experiences I could never have imagined and what the International Co-op Office allowed me. So I brought this back to the classroom, and what I learned in the classroom allowed me to consider and significantly impact my choice for my second co-op, where I chose to work at the Institute for Healthcare Improvement. I had solidified my interest in healthcare, but had also solidified the fact that I did not want to be in clinical healthcare. So I went on to the Institute for Healthcare Improvement, and I became an event planner. These are a couple images. The first is my first day at IHI. It was a really open environment, although it was corporate America. That's the team that I worked with on the right. It was my team of event planners, and down the bottom is an image of one of the events that I was able to work on. That event actually took place in Florida, so through this experience, I was able to actually incorporate my love for travel. The left is an image of me in San Francisco at an event, and the right is an image of the beautiful scenery in Florida where we all wish we were today. So these experiences combined brought me back to the classroom again. I had then been through class and co-op twice. And it was very much more clear to me what I wanted to do, but I still was not sure. But that brings me to this image, education versus co-op. So many of us see these images see these pathways as divergent. We come into Northeastern, we're like, yes, I'll spend a couple semesters in the classroom, and I'll spend a couple semesters on co-op, making money, having free time. We don't really see the intersection of them. However, in reality, co-op and education do not exist in tension. Through my global exploration personally, I learned a lot more than I had learned in the classroom through contextual learning. However, if I had not had that basis of classroom knowledge, I would not have had as much success abroad. So what I learned was that we have to utilize what we learn in class to achieve abroad, to achieve in the world. Even if we don't go international, if we go into the workplace, we need to use those basic concepts to lead to our success. So as I said, what I learned abroad significantly impacted my choices for the future. Now I'm fluctuating on my third co-op if I want to stay domestic or international because Northeastern opened up both of those opportunities for me. And before, I was really uncomfortable with this ambivalence, but now I'm okay with it through the immersion that Northeastern allowed me. So I just want to highlight again my point that these paths are not mutually exclusive. Yes, they are different. very different. But it's only at their intersection that we can truly understand the impact that both are having on our lives. We'll always be learning inside and outside of the classroom, and we need to take advantage of both. We need to never stop questioning or exploring, recognize and build on this connection between the cooperative education that we're allowed here at Northeastern. Thank you.